I am here with Eddie Sparks. He is a world-renowned matchmaker, and he's going to share with us a bunch of insider tips about matchmaking and the world of matchmaking. And I'm very excited to be talking with him today. So thank you, Eddie, for giving us this time. And I'm excited to start talking with you about all of your expansive knowledge about this whole sometimes mysterious world of matchmaking.
Hi, how are you doing? Hi, everyone.
Good. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you, Eddie, as we were talking before, is just what is your story? How did you get involved with matchmaking?
Well, to tell you the truth, it is usually a lie after people say that. But the actual thing that drove me into matchmaking was that I was just a computer geek that worked in Hollywood. I mean, walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard, getting better and better at media and the internet. And the stupidest thing happened is I looked up on Craigslist and I was like, hey, you know, I need work. And I ended up working for a matchmaker in Beverly Hills. It was 2 for Drinks. I started working for two for Drinks, Elite Jewish Match. I went from Elite Jewish Match, running their email campaign, into Elite Connections, Murphy International, Celebrity Matchmakers. I worked with May B from Orange County, because I don't want to mispronounce her last name, for a while. And then I kept the Malibu matchmaking product for a long time, to build it out for my future wife. So hopefully I can get married. I am engaged now, so
yay! Congratulations!
You know, a very attractive woman who puts up with me and slaps me once in a while. So you know, it's been almost a year. You know, I heard once I get, it's tough being a matchmaker. You know, sometimes it's very tough. So
yeah, how so?
I can't be alone all the time. I mean, everybody, sometimes they call me, hey, come on over to my house. And I'd be like, no. And I heard it gets worse after you get married. They're like, oh yeah, now we can all keep a secret, you know.
Oh, so, interesting. So there's a lot of temptation.
I'm just kidding. But that's how I got into matchmaking. I got into matchmaking by default. Basically, I built out a very large website a long time ago, and it just kept getting bigger. And then I was like, you know what? I can't depend on anybody. I'm going to go ahead and get good at it, and then I'm going to give it to my wife. So yeah, I've put people on there. I've worked with different people. You know, I've coordinated on hiring and firing and getting the whole email process down and communication. Getting popular in Malibu, getting popular in Ventura and Santa Barbara and Orange County and Tijuana and San Diego, and then having competitors and everything else, and then not having competitors, and then having friends, and then not. There's a lot of debauchery in this business. It's a different style of business. It's LA is all drama. It's 22 million people of drama. So
wow.
That's why I've really made a name for myself in Central and South America. I've made a name for myself in matchmaking in the Caribbean. Yeah. I do a lot of conversations with people in Europe, especially right now. Europe, Ukrainian women are popular because everybody's like, oh no, because they see it on the news every day. It's like ingrained in their heads. So yeah. A lot of men will call on fantasy calls, you know, like right. So
on fantasy calls. So what does that mean? Like someone asks for someone who's a specific nationality?
Yeah. Well, that's matchmaking in general. So that's they will call and say, I'm really interested in marrying a Ukrainian woman or someone from my country, or usually it's an American. Like, you know, I live in the last guy was like you know, I'm a business analyst from Central America, and I want to marry a woman from America, and you know it's like, okay, well, you know, let's see what's going on down there. But that's kind of how matchmaking works. So that's how I got into business, and I've traveled a lot. I'm a very well traveled man. So
yeah, you were saying like 66 countries.
I've been to 68 countries.
68.
I've lived in Central America 2 years, South America for 2 years. I lived in the Caribbean for 1 year. I've done all 35 countries in North and South America. I've been to every single one.
Wow.
I've been to 31 countries in Europe. I lived in Cairo for a while. I have 14 countries in Europe. Right now, I'm a continental gentleman, and one of the few American gentlemen there really are. I am actually titled a gentleman. So one of the few actual United States gentlemen. I'm a true continental gentleman. I have 14 countries left to be a 3 continental gentleman.
Wow.
And
how does one gain the distinction of being a continental gentleman?
oh, usually they have to graduate from seminary. So I'm a seminary graduate, right?
Wow.
So it's usually like if you read like back in history, not that it has anything to do with this, but you read back in history, you know, it's very distinguished to have a degree in theology, right? Because that's the only college there is. You got to go to church during the day and got to go to church all week. So, and when I was younger, that's what we did. And you know, that's all I'm going to talk about.
I think it's what I think is so interesting is this like varied background that you bring to matchmaking, because like you were talking about, you have this entire set of IT skills that are just so like beyond when you were describing what you do, and then bringing that to something that seems so personal and so much out of that realm of like IT. But I'm sure
Well,
that
even right now, I'm sitting in Panama, right? It's very hot. I got bars on my window, right? But that's okay, you know, because I'm so used to you know, going to waterfalls and turn around going to the beach and then working all day. And if I was sitting next to you, you know, how I got in matchmaking, matchmakers like because your internet engineer, your genius comes in and sits next to you, and all of a sudden everything that you want is done, right? And it's like, hey, can you do that? Oh yeah, it's done. Right. I don't order anything. You're not ordering anything. You just make it from scratch because I'm Hollywood, you know, I sit on set, so I have to make it right now. So all of a sudden everything becomes easy for the companies that I was working for. And then I get a good reputation. And I learned a lot because I'm doing marketing for them. I'm doing advertising for them. And all of a sudden now I have to do it for myself. Right.
Yeah, because you understand it inside and out because you
right. Well, it's very expensive also because we have big time competitors. So
yeah,
you know, it just depends on if Match.com is my competitor or isn't it, right? So it really comes down to am I another option, or you know, where's my niche in life, right? And am I auctioning off men in Brazil? Like, you know, this guy makes 275,000 a year, but the problem is when he goes to the beach, he wears a bikini. You know, is that something that you're okay with, right? I don't know what this guy does, but I know he does karate, right? He's not making a lot of money, but you want that body, he does karate, and he's going to be making $40 a day. So, you know, it just depends on what you want, you know. Matchmaking is very interesting. Interesting profession.
It seems like with matchmaking, it's you know, when people go out and they're dating, there's a lot of this idea of like, we're going to connect if it's meant to be and that kind of a thing. And with matchmaking, it seems like for people who are really used to kind of ordering what they want, or being really like kind of the instant, not the instant gratification, but just the sort of like creating the outcome that they want right away. It seems like they're more drawn to the matchmaking.
No,
is that what you see?
It's we can if I go, let's just, because I can only think in terms of alcohol. So if I go down to Sammy's Sports Bar, because that is the place where I hang out, because that sports bar is a Jacksonville Jaguar bar, right? Only Jacksonville Jaguar. And that's where I am every Sunday. There's no way at Sagebrush Cantina I'm going to be able to meet anybody because I'm not over there, right?
Right.
That's the most popular spot in Los Angeles on a Sunday, right? If you're at Sagebrush Cantina, you're good, right? But I can't meet that person because I'm in the bar, right?
Right.
So matchmaking is, I've been in this routine. There's a few different reasons why people choose matchmakers over anything.
Share those. I would love to hear those.
Okay, so but the first actual reason is because I'm in the bar. Can't be in 5 places at the same time.
Sure, so which makes sense.
Have a wide variety of knowledge of people. So that is the number one thing. And that's why people say, well, you know, I'm from Algeria. my mom wants me to marry someone who's South Korean. Can we find me the hottest Algerian woman in the world? Because I can't find any. And then, or preferably, someone speaks English, right?
Right.
Or they'll do the opposite. They'll say, well, I've been watching a lot on this Taiwan situation because now I'm addicted to it and it's in my brain, and I want to marry someone who's Taiwanese and
Wow.
that speaks English. Or okay, so that is one section of matchmaking. So they'll contact you.
Sure.
Second section of matchmaking is I'm 39 years old. I want to make kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So guys will say that. So guys will be like, I want to make kids.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find me any type of model, not a model, but actually, 82 model, 83 model, 84 model, 85 model, 86 model. Can you find me any type of model that will run with my race, right? like me and her drive to our destination.
Okay.
So usually that's 38, 39, 40, and 41-year-old men. So that's
Okay.
you got those men right there. So these men have decided that they want to have kids, right?
Okay.
But women, that happens a whole different time, right?
Right.
Women will be like, I'm gonna have 8 kids, and now I'm 14. I'm gonna get married at 18, right? Right. So, or women will be on their career and wake up about 30, exactly 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll say, I want to have kids right now, and I call me, right? So they call
Right.
me and say, I'm 30, I'm freaking out, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that's okay. That's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
usually that there's some sort of pattern or behavior that has gotten to that point.
Right.
The third type of people are people that recently become successful. So I've been selling what's that stuff? I've been selling stuff online. I don't know if it's workout stuff or supplements, and now I have 400 team leaders under me, and I work out every day, and now I'm beautiful, and I don't want to deal with anything else. I don't know how. I physically didn't grow up like this, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to meet someone with money. So then I go at it. But then there's also Jim, who works in accounting. Now he's a senior accountant, and now he's
Mm-hmm.
he's he's making a solid living, and he wants to go ahead and say, I give up, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my version of hunting and gathering for the female sex, right? My version of hunting and gathering for the female sex is not working. My system doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now I want to go into another system. So
Yeah.
then I come, I'm not hitched, but I come and say, okay, that's fine, because we're all
Yeah.
normal. I
Of
just,
course.
we're all normal people. Just other people have spent more time inside than other people, or more time in front of the mirror than other people. So that some people's ego has gone up, and some people's thought process has left the building. So
That's
so
such a great way of
that's
thinking about
another
that.
type of person that joins matchmaking service. And then the last one is I'm just indispensable. So that would be someone like me. I'm just indispensable. You know what? I have been on this sailboat, and I promised myself I'm going to finish the earth, right? And it's taken about 9 years already. And is there any way you can basically, introduce me to women, so when I get to the next place that I'm going to, let's just say when I get to Grenada, from Barbados, that a couple people will be there so I can date them, right? So
I see.
and that's another use of matchmaking, because to be fair, you have a lot of different outlets. You physically can just not be good at Match.com, or not be good at eHarmony. You can physically
Mm-hmm.
not be good at speed dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not. And people will watch stuff about getting rid of weeds in their lawn, but they won't watch stuff on physically how to get better at dating, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times they do that because it's not really. I mean, it's way more interesting. Today, I was watching a guy change the hoofs on a kicking horse. I thought that was the most interesting thing in the world. I was like, oh man, like I love the barrel race. I'm crazy, right? I'm a high energy guy, right? I'm the guy. I'm going to ride a horse fast as it will go. So sometimes I got to be doing maintenance on my horse, right?
Right.
So, but
Makes sense.
other people are still doing that, or they're addicted to other things, which we're not talking about at the moment. But there's other things that I can do to take, let's say, a woman or a man who is just chronically single, or newly become single, or there was some reason why they become single, and what it was is that they really reverted back to their single self, and now they have new bad habits. And I have a whole list of things to say, hey, that's no, right?
Yeah.
No. But
Yeah.
it's still, it just depends on what type of person. There's so many different types of people. There's A people, B people, C people, D people. There's people that are not going to respond well to criticism. There's people that are going to be, out on their boat fishing all day, or just not going to respond to any sort of advice. And as a matchmaker, we deal with a wide range of salaries too. So a lot of people are on a different financial situation where they'll be like, well, I can buy your family, blah 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 blah, right? They'd be like, oh, okay, well, how am I going to work with that? Because if you tell that to 40 girls in a row, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
So how does that impact it? If someone comes to you, how does cost figure into everything? Obviously, like if someone is making a lot of money, I'm assuming that they have a lot more options, or in terms of like women who would be interested in them. If we're looking at men coming in who are making a lot of money and they're coming in to be a client of yours, do they just have a ton of options, or how does that work for them?
Okay, so cost, right? Cost is based on basically $100,000 salary a year. This is just the easiest way to explain. So let's just say, and in fact, maybe most of the actual matchmakers who are somewhere, most of the matchmakers are usually between like 55 and 75 years old women. They're very, very, very well accustomed to being in everybody's business. They got their snoot in everybody's business. So they're very good at matchmaking because they know who everyone's single, because Fred just got divorced. Let's go deal with that, right? So so that's it. So you're going to look at their, before they even get started, be like, oh, it's $100,000. So that's how much it is. Now I'm probably one of the cheapest options, right? I charge 25, right? But my target market is closed, right? So I charge 35. I'll charge 35,000 for the year to, be in St. Louis, right? Because I have to set up camp, right? Yeah. And a lot of times personal, because I take it personal if I can't find you a date, because I really do. So if it's international, I charge double, because I got that's a whole nother thing. Now, am I accustomed to it? I have experience. Have you ever heard of the island called Dominica? No, right? Lots of people go to, they'll say, oh, Dominican Republic. I said, no. So if you say I want to marry somebody there, then I already have experience and say, oh, I have been there. I know what's going on, right? Yeah. So if I go there, I've already got a sense of this is how it is compared to everything else, right? Because now I have more comparisons than other people. Same thing in Los Angeles. So I charge $35,000 to do out of my area. So if I'm in New York or if I'm in Miami, it's usually $35,000. So you can make payments. It's just based on $100 a day, kind of. So this one is if there's it's 9, I think it's 9, 15, and 25,000. So I charge 9 for 3 months, 15 for 6 months, and 25,000 for the year, which is not that you're basically hiring me as an employee to go out there, find what you're doing. Find you a partner. Love it. Or I have to put matchmakers on it. I say, well, this is going over to San Diego County, or what's worse is Santa Barbara, or it's even worse is Palmdale or Lancaster, which is very far away from, like, God does not know where this place is, right? So it's very far away, right? So then I have to call, because some of those ladies in the area also know a lot of people. So this is not always I'm your representative for your curves or your pudge, right? So I'm either finding you a pudge, or I'm finding you some curves. That's it, right? It just depends. And it gets very complicated because I got 22 million people, Chinese, Vietnamese, white people, black people, Spanish people, Armenians, Jews, Persians, everyone, right?
Everyone. And so you have a really extensive connection to lots of different matchmakers in other places as well.
That's right. That's matchmaking. A lot of matchmaking is reputation, your ability to call people, and your ability to straight up be arguing with everyone else, right? Oh, well, so-and-so said that I was a scam artist, right? So there you go. So there's a lot of drama in
Yeah.
the industry in our age group, because 30s and 40s, right? Is just drama, right? Because
Wow.
so and so's client went over here, and I specialize in this area. Well, I've been in Beverly Hills for 22 years. Well, I haven't been in Beverly Hills for 22 years, but I don't know why so and so signed up with me, because you're the person, right? But they signed up
Right.
with me twice and they got divorced twice. Well, I don't want them to get divorced, right? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
I want
another
them.
thing I wonder is how the connecting to people, you know, when you connect those two people and they start that relationship, that's the one thing, right? But what kinds of things do you look at when you're making those connections that that contribute to like the longevity of that relationship or their ability to sustain it? Is that something that clients, when they come to you, that they're interested in talking about, or that they even realize is something that to care about?
People do what people want to do, right?
Sure.
People just do what people want to do. And there's just people that will just wake up and say, I don't want to be here anymore, and just walk away, right?
Sure.
It's just something that you cannot fix about that person, right?
Right.
But in reality, what happens is that I get a lot of conversations, random drunk conversations, all sorts of conversations. People fill out my form, don't remember. People fill out my form at 2 o'clock in the morning. People fill out my form. People talking to me right on the phone, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll talk to them on the phone. They treat me like degrade me right away. Let's just say
Hmm.
that in beginning, they're just like, oh, I thought you were somebody else. Blah 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 blah. Okay,
Hmm.
so what I say, because eventually it's going to come down to, I want to find a man who can deal with me, right? So really, it comes down to, I need to find a man to deal with me. So when I'm looking at longevity, right, in the relationship, I'm also trying to pick out the person. Well, this guy right here is used to arguing 2 or 3 times before having a conversation, right?
Hmm.
It's just true. So when she's like blah 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 blah, blah, she's going to be arguing, right? And with her, right? Me, I'm not
Right.
that guy. I'm not that guy. And what's worse is that they're talking to a male matchmaker, right? I'm a man, so you're
Yeah.
immediately just coming at me. So I know
Right.
what you're going to do to your man,
With
right?
your client, yeah, that you went,
Exactly,
yeah.
because they're going to experience exactly how you are, and it's a different story. Because I get the sweet ones too, or I get the bossy ones, right? It just depends, right? So I have to find one. I have to find a guy or a girl that can also handle it the same way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
like to say I specialize with men, because there's I do's, which is uh, constants, right? They're constantly
sure.
I doing, right? You got your dogs. You just wake up and say, I'm not going to be a dog anymore, right? I'm willing to spend money to not to actually kiss a woman, right? So, uh, and then I got my
Are they
horse,
like,
right?
I'm ready to fall in love? Yeah.
Well, I call him horse, but I don't call him to everyone. But I'll say, yeah, this is a horse. She's hopelessly romantic, or he's hopelessly romantic. It's actually the opposite. They just sit in there and imagine themselves with somebody, and they're not doing anything about it, right? So
Did
they
you say
finally,
horse?
yeah,
Horse or
no, just horse, right? So they really, these are my favorite people, because they
like,
really want to get married. They really want to do something. They really want to
yeah,
date somebody, but they just can't. So I call them
yeah.
horse, just to get them their juices flowing, right? Oh, you're a whore. You're hopelessly romantic, right? You're a hopelessly romantic person, right? So
Oh, okay.
I
So
got to get
you,
them thinking about it, because it gets stuck in there. The problem is that there's the whispering starts, right? Because you're stuck in your routine for a long time. You're stuck in the house or behind a computer. So I want to build their confidence up, and get ready for what's going to happen. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to find them 2 or 3 good candidates for you know, uh, being part of their life, right?
yeah.
It's a
But
lot of
go back
differences.
to, because I'm trying to make sure I understood you. Did you say that you call them whores, like
Yeah, hopelessly romantic.
WHORE?
No,
Okay.
HORS,
Okay.
HORS, horse, hopelessly romantics.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you edit this later, make sure you leave that part in, okay?
Oh no, that's okay.
Yeah, so it will make sense.
But the thing is that horse is it just, to me, it's like the people that are just like, look, I'm frustrated and I spent a
Yeah,
lot of money, because clothes cost money and time costs money and everything
yeah,
else. And that's actually the last part that I didn't really say, is there's always time conscious customers. They're like, look,
yeah,
I'm 64, I want to, something to do, right?
yeah,
And I still have a job or whatever, it doesn't matter. well, that's normal to me. I'm not necessarily pretentious isn't the word, but I'm a normal person, right? So hey, yeah, it's fine. But the truth is, no matter what, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do. And if you want to
Yeah.
decide on a matchmaker, you'd ask me about the question of legitimacy of matchmaking. But the truth
Yeah.
is that in a legitimate term, it just depends on what type of car you drive, right? Because if you're buying from me, then you're basically buying a nice Jeep Cherokee, right? It's 35,000, but in reality, it costs more, and it starts costing more. And I have another product. It's called advertise your single status. And that's even more expensive because some of them want to advertise for single status. Because some of it is me looking in my network, and some of it is just straight out me looking for someone that you really want. Being in Hollywood, because there is no limit to this. Because Hollywood, a lot of times they'll call me. It's like, I want to meet Selena Gomez, right? I want to meet this person. I said, okay, I can do that, but it's $10,000 phone, right?
Yeah.
That's how much it is. It's not even going any further, because it might actually be more than that, right?
Yeah.
But for me to get her on the phone, because I have a reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is a legitimate situation. I'm going to pay you $5 grand, put so and so's manager on the phone.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pay him $5 grand, or I'm going to pay 10 grand, and then I'm going to get to who I need, or I'm going to call someone I know. Because I know every comedian there is, right? I feel like I do. Right? I'm the real life Larry David, right? Like when I go, I don't want to hang out with anybody. I'm not hanging out with the Vanderpumps. They don't want to hear me. Right? They're like, this is my pet. He's down under the table, right? No. I'm at the open mic laughing my ass up on the roof, right?
Sure.
Right. So because that's my version of happiness. And when people they call, it's like, hey, I own a gold mine in Kazakhstan. I'm like, oh, great, great. Okay, so we'll get this conversation started. And I want to meet Selena Gomez or someone who looks like her. And I was like, well, it's going to be 10 grand a phone call, right?
Yeah.
So, there's just, that's matchmaking. When people close their eyes, right, that's what they envision. Right?
Mm-hmm. So there is that whole element of fantasy.
Everyone has that dream, right? Because that's the fantasy of being the love doctor.
Right.
It was not that way. It kind of just landed on me. And I've refused to stop doing it because I started the business and I keep going, and it's a good way to just have a bunch of fun and meet a bunch of people. I like to solve problems, solving problems is fun.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like a problem. Good. You should tell the truth. There's I'm a truth teller, and then there's straight liars. So try to put them all together, is keep them separated. Because truth tellers like tell the truth, and liars like lying. That's fine. We just keep the liars over here. I'm not exclude. There's no exclusion in matchmaking, because I cannot exclude you, right? It's just that this is the type of person you are, and that's 3.5 billion people, right?
So then, what does that do with if you know that people are being dishonest? How do you present them to people who might be possible matches?
Well, I've gone a little light with the conversation, but the truth is we always do a background check. We're checking their credit. We want to know what corporations they own, right? We want to know if they actually have money in the bank, because I don't want to introduce them to you unless they're legit, right?
Sure.
It's not even legit rich. It's just legitimately a person.
Like what they said they were. Just like, does it match?
That is because my job is titles too, right? So this guy is a paralegal. Okay, is he really a paralegal, right?
Yeah.
Or this guy isn't a lawyer. Well, I can look him up online. That's great. But is this really where we're going for? And it just depends. All of that seems like what you're talking about. But when I get down to it, I want to know who's making breakfast, right? Because I have different questions. Because I got the liar category. Who's making breakfast, you or her, right? And why? What's your motivation? Are you willing to unfollow everyone? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do that? I got a supermodel over here. Is what you asked me to. I think she's a supermodel. She's beautiful, right? She's beautiful to me, right? It doesn't matter. Everybody's got different choices. So
and you're looking at,
this is your supermodel right here, and then we walk you in there, and you're a lying sack of shit, right?
Yeah.
Lying sack of shit, right? And that's why I actually have a question that says on my on my actual form that says, I regularly lie about this. And you have to answer the question, right? I regularly lie about this, right? Because I'm coming, right? I'm coming. I will do exactly, I'm military too. I'll do exactly what you ask me, right? And sometimes they do. And it's nothing to do with anything else. I want an ACAP, Asian girl that speaks fluent Swedish. You know, okay, all right, let's go. Right.
Yeah.
I want what is it? I want a woman who is let's just say Bulgarian, or let's just say I want a woman in Orange County that loves trains.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
find that when people are expressing what their preference is, that they mostly start with nationality in terms of like your clients? Do they mostly start with like, I want someone from this place or that place?
No, what I don't listen to that and answer that question. I usually ask them if it really comes down to it. Just depends on the man or woman. Because it just depends. Because women will change their mind all the time. Sometimes it's just, what do you want your baby to look like, right? Right? Do they have black hair, white hair? What's the deal, right? Right. So that's where I start.
So it seems like, yeah, it seems like you really zero in on like questions about like realistic compatibility.
That's right.
Like, yeah, it's very, you really zero in on like what specific concise questions do I need to ask that are completely different from what people might assume to ask, but that give me a very clear picture of whether these people are going to actually be compatible and want each other.
That's correct. And the main reason is because I still have to make a name for myself all the time too. For number one, obviously I'm not a woman, right? And number two, this is my 12th year. I'm not a woman that's been doing it for 25 years. So there are a lot of people with reputations that just say, here I am, what do you want? Right? Or they just hang up on you. And I'll sit there and try to figure it out at least a little bit. You know, and I had a dating membership. I had a dating membership product. I still have, but I just don't sell it all over the place. It's $700 unlimited date, right? And basically 1 or 2 days a week, we just call everyone and see if we can get them all dates, or we'll just send them all out together. And my claim to fame is I can almost 100% guarantee you that I will have 2 men have a fist fight over you in the front yard, right? Because I'll make them both show up at the same time, right? Right? I'll make them both show up at the same time. It's not group dating.
Talk about drama.
It just depends what type of. It just depends, because I got 2 aggressive men. I'll stick them both together. And if one's like, oh, whatever, you can have it, then that's good. We've weeded it out. Now, is that out? Yeah. That's right. Is that a 5-minute instant gratification, instant regret type of decision? Yeah. But you're an adult. Get over it. You made the decision. It's over, right? Yeah. This guy wants to be with you more than this guy does, right? So let's have a conversation about it, right? Let's see what's going on. It doesn't work. That doesn't work. Usually the opposite. They'll both. Sometimes both girls will stay on a date, depending on what's going on. Oh, blah, 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 blah. They just sit there and try to compete with each other. But guys usually won't do that. Yeah. We're not talking about TV. We're just talking about no cameras. No, this is your fantasy land, right? We're not recording this. We're just talking about 2 honest guys that have already gone on a date with you, showing up at your door at the same time, right? Yeah. And then staring at each other. They're staring at you, right? And
so what is that like for the woman who's in that situation?
Good. It's very good for her, because she she will just make a decision.
But what is her is that something that she knows is going to happen in advance, and so she's ready to, she's prepared to handle that?
Most of the time, yeah.
Sometimes.
The first few times I experimented with it, it wasn't necessarily like that. But the truth is, it's better that way. Yeah. That's if she can't, because it just depends. It doesn't happen very often. I can't deal with Tom, right? That's why I just do dating sometimes, right? It's like, I'll send you on as many dates. I just want to date a drummer. I want to date. No, I'm done with him. I want to date somebody else. That's fine, right? Because you're not actually trying to get a date, get engaged, get married. Find your cutie pie at MalibuMatchmaking.com, right? That's how. If you're not trying to do that, That's fine. We'll just get you a date, get you another date. But sometimes in matchmaking, you'll be like, look, I just don't trust him. I was like, well, I think he was telling the truth, because I tell the truth to my fiance all the time. It's like, I love you, and that's it, right? So that way, if there's any discrepancy of any bikini pictures or anything else on my phone, right? I already told you in advance. But
I already told you.
Right, because I've already gone to the end, so there's no arguing in. But in their case, if they're like, oh no, or whatever, I'm done with, or whatever, I don't like them talking about anything else. I want to talk about them today and stay in the present, right?
Sure.
But you never know what people do, what people want, or they get too drunk. That's why I love matchmaking too, because you pay a ton of money to go drink 2 bottles of wine and screw it up with the most perfect woman that a professional could find you, right? And, and sometimes just fun, right? It just depends what type. You have Carlos. He lives in El Monte, right? He's got a hoopty, and he's looking for a curvaceous Mexican woman, that likes tattoos, right? It just depends, right?
Sure.
So complete opposite. And I'm not going to stick anybody in that situation, because they'll be like, hey, right? It just depends on who you're talking to. So,
okay.
we get off because LA is very large, right? So I have different sections. So a lot of the conversation is about Thousand Oaks, Westlake Village, Santa Barbara, parts of Orange County. But you get into more your cooler people are out and far away. And that's another part of matchmaking. Well, how far you want to drive? She's not going to drive an hour and a half. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a huge part of just dating in general, and
they'll tell you different. They'll tell you different. But you're an adult, so if you don't in the long run, if you don't take off work for a few days and just stay together with each other, like I don't want to talk to you anymore, right? Right? If you don't do what I tell you, right? Because it's no longer fantasy. It's just like you wake up. Are you having conversations? Because the last thing is happiness, right? You're finding happiness. This is your path to happiness, right? And happiness, cannot be found. You have to bring it with you, right? Right. But the truth is, we're kind of making it easier for you to be happy. So when she lands in your apartment and you have a collection of 4,000 frogs, right? That she's already knowledgeable about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Your terrariums, or she likes big, you don't know who these people are. Right? Nobody knows who these people are. But
when you're looking for a match for a client who's a woman, how is it different from when you're looking for a match for a client who's a man? Or is it?
Men have different styles of approaching the hiring process, right? Than women have process of approaching the hiring process. I think women will do a lot more research, and men will just make a decision. But most of the time, women want a guy with a career, right? They're way, way, way different. This is my life. This is how I am. I don't expect to change, right? Men are like, oh, okay, let's roll the dice. Let's go see what's going to happen, right?
Sure,
Women are like, this is just so one is, I guess it's two different symbols. One is ground symbol and one is air symbol, right? You're kind of getting into my own version of mysticism, right, or whatever, spirituality, right? So one is worrying about, can I move my ground over somewhere, and the other one is wondering if I can, go explore a little bit, right? Let's see if my life can be complemented. So A plus B. The woman, regardless of what is happening, and is the woman is going to have most of the power in the relationship, as long as she wants to, right? So as long as she wants to, sometimes you can't always make a decision by yourself, but it's just, are you going to protect this woman for the rest of your life, right? I'm a dude, right? Are you going to let this man protect you for the rest of your life? Because right now it seems like you've already displayed that you're a green belt karate and you're going for yellow, right? Right. I understand it, but you can't argue with the man. You know, he's been eating bacon his whole life. Not going to change. Right? So,
So,
well, but
so it's almost,
women give me the third degree. A
uh,
woman on the phone is 45 minutes. This is what I
yeah,
want. Send me 4 profiles of this. Send me this. Send me this. Let me see what's going on. I was like, look, I always tell them, normally I work a lot better with men, but the truth is women always want to buy it from me, right? I was like, I want to see all this. Well, that's okay. We have some examples. I'll show you some examples of married people, right? That kind of fit your description. And you can take a look at the pictures and see if these married people are what you're visioning in your head. Because what you're
yeah,
visioning in your head is a version of you right now, 40 years from now, but you're not going to be that version because you're only going to be 50% of that version, right?
yeah.
So also I ask him, well, do you expect him to move in with you? Or are you expecting to move in somewhere else? Have you made room for your supposed new boyfriend, right? You have
Yeah.
half the closet open. Well, I mean, what's your life like? And then I hit him with a question. I was like, because I'll go stay at your house for a month. I mean, if it really comes down to it, I'll stay at your house with him for a month and I'll see what you're doing, because whatever you're doing is ridiculous, right? Because I'll tell you, you're ridiculous because you're already bossing me around. I don't even know you, right? And that's fine, but I just have to have a man that can deal with it. I think of
Sure.
it completely different. Completely. Oh, you're arguing with me again? But I'm just ticking it off in my head, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of categorized. Oh, this is Brian, right? Because Brian's last wife was just like this, so I got my check mark. I have to find a Brian, right?
Yeah.
Or it just depends. And someone would be like, well, if you don't have a Mercedes, I ain't talking. Well, it's like, well, I know which category you're in.
Yeah.
And other people like, look, I need a warm butt at night, right? The whole point of matchmaking is find yourself a warm butt, right? But there come consequences come with that, because then you're fighting over the air conditioner. You're running the air
Yeah.
conditioner or the fan. I'm not a fan guy. I like the AC, right? So
There's no such thing as just a warm butt. Oh,
no, it all comes
be.
with cost. But the truth is, as soon as you get married, you find out that you don't want anything else. You're running around the grocery store, right? Or when you hit about the year mark and you're just like, this is what I'm going to do with my life, or I've already got married, or whatever. You know, you're running around the grocery store and you're like, I definitely want that, but only for 4 minutes, right? So, you know, there's a lot of other things that you have to deal with in a relationship, but a lot of that's not my problem. My problem is finding you somebody that you can get to that problem with, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there is a difference between men and women. So, you know, girls,
Yeah.
the other pitch is, you want to meet someone that's hot, upscale, single, right? A hot, upscale, single. You want to meet someone that, or like you want to meet somebody you can do karate with for the rest of your life. I'm sure I can find a woman who knows what a tree frog is, right? Oh, you sell Legos for a living? Let's go, right? It just depends
Yeah.
on you know, different styles, and it doesn't matter who you kind of mate him with. It just depends. Mate. I'm talking about mating. Now I'm doing mating. That's really who they mate with, but in reality, they usually come with a predetermined set of requirements, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why they usually contact the matchmaker. Usually 5% of the time, it's just because they're frustrated. Because they're like, well, I guess I can just be a member on Match.com instead of free member, right? Instead of
Mhm.
spending $9,000, right? They're like, all right, then that's fine. But they'll always call for the same reason, almost always. You know, I
And
want to
it's
have
that they're,
kids. I don't know how to
yeah.
do it. I was like, well, shouldn't have been a dog for 15 years, or you shouldn't have worked so long, right? Because you
Yeah.
just worked forever and you forgot, right?
That's what you tell men.
Oh yeah. I shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, right? I mean, what you
Yeah.
want, what you actually ordering is the easiest. You're just saying, hey, you know what? I can't get a blowjob by myself, so I need you to help me, right? But I mean, I just distinguish. You know, it's very evident in the beginning.
Right.
But kids are a good motivator. Women will call about kids usually earlier, like I said, and men will call for kids about 39. But that doesn't mean that they're always up to budget. It's like, hey,
Mm.
you know, I know this is what I want, and then that's why I came up with my $700 product. Okay,
Mhm.
you know, it's $700 to join the database, right? If you
Mhm.
want to join my database, it's $700. Introduce you to as many people as we can. You can join for free if I have somebody that I'm looking to introduce you to, right? Or for $700, I just send you out as many dates as possible. You can meet as many people as you want, right? A friend wants to go bowling. This guy wants to do this. This guy wants. And you can just check the list. I want to do this, right?
Yeah.
So,
so how is that different from the one-on-one matchmaking thing? Is that you, in that case, it's just everybody's on a list and it's just a whole bunch of people that it's kind of like a free-for-all thing. It's not really like I'm choosing this person to introduce to this person because I know that they'll be compatible.
That's right.
Okay.
It's just that all these people are looking to do something tonight. You want to stay inside? Do you want to go out? You know, Susan said that she's buying 14 people drinks. I said we have 13 people available, right? Then you all go out, or not? Right? Because I'm the party penguin. I love to have fun. You know, and in Hollywood, I'll be sitting at the party by myself, and Andy Dick will come in because he got kicked out of another party. Because I actually stayed the whole time, and he just got kicked out. So, you know, it's actually true, but.
It seems like there's a certain personality type that does really that enjoys that more. I think it's like more up for like extroverted people, you know, people that like get a lot of that like to be around lots of people, people that like to go out and
single moms love the product because they can meet a bunch of guys. Just
interesting.
Because they're sitting at home and they really just get bored. And they just have no way of trust, because regardless is I met him already, right? Okay. Or someone that physically works for me has met them already. We already talked to them. I know who they are, and they've just entered the circle, and the conga line is going, and then you can go enjoy yourself, right? Yeah. There's a lot less risk to it. So I was trying to come up with something like that in particular, but the problem is I still own multiple businesses. I have other things to do, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this business was really not in the long run will change, because hopefully Lisette will be the primary owner of the company and never have to do that to myself again, right? Because I didn't want to be dragged into your drama all the time. But you know, I'm the guy. I mean, oh, what do you mean? I can write the Queen of England? I'm writing the Queen of England right now. Right.
Yeah.
She reads all her mail. Okay. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, right.
So is Lisette excited about taking it over?
No. No. I mean, I have a singles brunch in Tijuana every Thursday, right? During the summer, because that's my favorite place during the summer, right? If I'm in LA, I go down. But I'm like, dude, Lisette, like she wants a Spanish woman in Tijuana. He's like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. It's not serious. Right? It's like, he was serious, he'd probably pay me already. She don't want nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Me, you know, I'm the opposite. I'm like, well, we have to spend a lot of money to find people that are interested in matchmaking. And this guy is actually like, hey, please introduce me to people, right? And he's actually texting us all the time, right? I was like, you know, why don't you talk to him? It's like, oh, no. Right. So I mean, I have no idea what she is going to do with the product in the long run, because I want her to take over. I would like her to take over my production company too. So hopefully, you know, maybe she'll do something that you should just do models, you know, some sort of modeling for trade shows or something. And then I'll have an even more interesting life, because I can just go hang out at the Mercedes-Benz place, right? With a whole bunch of floor models. It'd be great. I'm just sitting there sipping the Mai Tai instead of doing insurance.
Still traveling, going to different places. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely done a lot of that.
Well, Eddie, thank you so much for sharing. So you have such an extensive knowledge of this industry and how all these things work. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. It's been so just enlightening and eye-opening to listen to you describe this and your viewpoint on it. And I think that it's going to really be a valuable experience for anybody who's watching this and who's thinking about matchmaking. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And like, my name is Eddie Sparks, Mr. Casanova from Malibu Matchmaking. I hope you get a date, get engaged, and get married at MalibuMatchmaking.com. And I hope you find your cutie pie at MalibuMatchmaking.com. And you can easily do all of it by yourself. But if you do need help, we're here for you.
Cool.